Hey again, this is Justin with KnSgames, and today I'm bringing my guide on how to play support Nunu. First I'm going to go into Nunu's skill set. You have his passive, Visionary, which gives him a free spell every 7th auto attack. As a support, you're not really going to get to take advantage of this because you're not going to be auto attacking very much. Nunu's Q is called Consume. You'll do true damage to target minion and heal yourself a bit. Now when I say true damage, I mean that this number is constant. It is not mitigated by MR or armor. Now this ability can be useful to sustain in lane a little bit, but you probably won't spam it too much for that. It's also very useful for controlling Dragon. If you communicate with your jungler what number to smite it at and consume at the same time, it's much harder for an enemy to steal it. You're going to take one level of this and max it last. Now Nunu's next skill is W. It's called Blood Boil. It's an attack and move speed buff for an ally. It can also be cast on yourself, but if you cast it on an ally, even an allied creep, you will also gain the benefit of it. Now Blood Boil is the skill that you want to level priority. It turns your AD carry into an absolute monster. Next we have Nunu's E, which is called Ice Blast. It's an attack and move speed slow, and it's on a very low cooldown later in the game, so you can constantly keep it on the enemy AD carry and keep him debuff. In lane, you're mostly going to use this as a zoning tool. When people try to play aggressive on you and you don't want to fight them, you're going to throw it at them, and if you're trying to go for a kill, you're going to throw this at your kill target over and over again. Nunu's ultimate is called Absolute Zero. It's wide range and it's a 3-second channel. You're going to sit there, everyone in the zone is going to get slowed, and if you don't get your channel interrupted, they'll take a lot of damage at lower levels. Now you can get very tricky with this ability. If you're hiding in a bush, because it doesn't do damage, the enemies will get slowed but not be able to see you, and they might not even realize you're channeling it, and you can hopefully get them with a full ultimate that way. Now late game, if you're not building AP, and as a support you really shouldn't be, this is not going to do a whole lot of damage. But it's a very good tool for zoning people. People still are really sketchy about running through it, and you'll probably make them burn a CC on you instead of on your allies. Okay, now I'm going to go into laning basics with Nunu, partners that he can play with, and how he should be played with those. Now Nunu's actually really versatile. He can work with almost any AD carry. The difference is going to be how you play with that AD carry, because he can play 2 different ways. My personal favorite lane partners are Caitlyn and Vayne. Now, a Caitlyn with a move speed buff can easily get into range to auto attack, last hit, or harass, and get back out before anyone can counter harass her. And this just makes Caitlyn's already dominant laning phase that much better. Now, Vayne already has a lot of move speed from her passive, so she can easily chase anyone down, and her W scales really well with attack speed. Graves is also a very powerful lane partner for Nunu. A Graves with Blood Boil on is absolutely relentless. And your Ice Blast will slow your target down enough that he won't miss his skill shots ever. Miss Fortune has recently become Player of the Month, and she works fairly well with Nunu as well. Especially if she has her passive up, she will just move like lightning through the lane. You're going to want to keep Blood Boil on your AD carry most of the time. It lets them move in and out of creeps very easily and last it without being harassed, and it lets them exchange very well with enemies, especially in the case of someone like Caitlyn, who has enough range to get in, auto attack, and get out without taking any damage. Now should the enemy try to stand and fight you, you're going to want to put your Ice Blast on them, because it'll debuff their attack speed, and it'll keep them from running away. Now depending on how your lane is going, you're going to take Consume relatively late, but you want it before the first dragon fight, because that's very important to have. Now once you have Consume, remember that it heals you if you eat a creep, so if you find yourself being focused down by the enemy lane, it's very useful. Now Nunu's ultimate can be a little bit awkward to use in lane. You might not even find yourself using it most games until your first dragon fight. What it's really good for is zoning people. If you position yourself well and can separate their team with it, they're not going to want to run through it. And at the very least, they're going to burn a CC to knock you out of it that they could have used on your carry. Now just a side note, if you move at all when you're in the ultimate, you will break the channel. Remember this, if no one's in your ultimate, no one's going to hit by it, there's no reason to keep channeling it. Break it and get on with what you're doing. Now when it comes to late game team fights, there's not really a lot to Nunu. Keep your attack damage carry, Blood Boil at all times, and if you can manage it, keep your Ice Blast on the enemy AD or someone that you're trying to chase down and kill. Again, your ultimate is a useful zoning tool, but at this stage of the game, it's not going to do a whole lot of damage, and a lot of people will just run straight through it and ignore you. So at that point, it's really only useful for the slow. But Nunu's slow is really powerful. If you catch someone out of position after you've cleared wards and they go to check if you're at an objective like Baron by themselves, you can keep them slowed, chase them down, and kill them if their team can't get to them in time. Again, try to communicate with your jungler when he should be smiting and consume at the same time. That way, if an enemy tries to contest, it'll be much harder for them to steal the objective. Now I just want to talk real quick about runes and masters that I run on Nunu as a support. I run flat armor, reds and yellows. I run scaling magic resist, blues. And I run gold for 10 quints. Now I run all that armor because in bottom lane you need a lot of armor. You're going to get harassed, especially as someone like Nunu who's melee, and you can be harassed for free if your AD carry is out of range. The scaling magic resist, there's really no reason for Nunu to run anything else. He has no mana problems whatsoever. He has no reason to run cooldown reduction because his E and his W already have almost 100% uptime. Now for masteries, I like to run all the way into the defensive tree because again, I want my Nunu to be really tanky because you get harassed a lot and there's not a lot you can do about it. It's up to your AD carry to counter harass. So I take the 1 point in exhaust and I'm going to go into armor, MR, health per level, health, damage reduction, regen. You can take cooldown. I like to take cooldown on everyone. It's pretty amazing. You can take damage reduction from minions and monsters. You take the move speed buff, reduce tower armor. Those are kind of up in the air, but you only have like 2 or 3 free points after that. Then I have 8 points left to throw into the utility tree. I'm going to take improved flash, reduce time dead, because again, Nunu has no mana problems. No reason to take mana per level or mana regen. I'm going to take improved recall time and 4 into the move speed. Now, you might notice in some of the clips that I have here that I run heal exhaust. I've tried that out a lot because I really liked it with Janna, and I do not like it on Nunu at all. I wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend flash exhaust because Nunu doesn't have any get out of jail free cards like Janna does. And you don't want to be just free kills for the enemy jungler. As always, thank you everyone for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and leave below in the comments any other champions you'd like to see a guide for. If you enjoyed the video, and maybe you'd like to learn more about other champions, we have all our other how-tos up here on the right. So go ahead, pick a champion you'd like to learn, and click on the link.